Yusuf, Nick, says there that there are some sorts of negotiations going on as far as President Conde is concerned. We don't know what's happened to him or where he is right now. Just give us some context, some background to all this. It's not the first time there's an attempted coup in Guinea. What could have led to this latest tension and unrest that we're seeing?
Well, Foley, there's been growing discontent against President Alpha Conde ever since he tweaked the constitution, allowing him to run for a third term. And the outcome of this election that took place last November, that was contested by the opposition and civil society actors. And they took to the streets. And in response, there was a heavy-handed reaction, according to human rights groups and Amnesty, security forces shooting live ammunition towards protesters. And so ever since that election, there's been a situation of instability. It became the status quo for Guinea. And Alpha Conde had just a week ago passed a new bill in the parliament that irked a lot of people, especially members of the security forces, where he essentially allowed himself a pay increase for the presidency and himself, and a pay decrease for civil servants, including members of the security forces. Now, the gunfire that we've seen in Conakry, the battle that's been
Nicholas,
happening.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you, because we're getting live pictures from state television in Guinea right now, for the RTG, which is a state-owned television, and we see soldiers on TV right now addressing, it seems, the nation. The picture is frozen for a second, but hopefully we'll get it back on. They've been delivering a statement, it would appear. Unclear who these soldiers are, but a number of them, about 3, 6, 9, 10 soldiers on the national TV in Guinea right now, addressing the nation. This is, of course, pointing to the confusing situation. Let's try and listen in a bit, and I'll try to translate if I can.
Un système qui n'existe pas. Et ce système, il faut qu'on le fasse tous ensemble. Il y a eu beaucoup de morts pour rien, beaucoup de blessés, beaucoup de larmes. Alors qu'on aime tous la Guinée. Donc, je pense qu'il est temps pour nous de se comprendre, de se donner la main, de s'asseoir, d'écrire une constitution qui est adaptée à nos réalités, capable de régler nos problèmes. Parce que si vous voyez l'état de nos routes, si vous voyez l'état de nos hôpitaux, vous vous rendez compte qu'après 62 ans, il est temps pour nous.
Okay, let me just translate a bit of what we've heard there from that army commander. Not clear what his rank is, but he says it's now time for Guinea to unite. It's time for us to create a new constitution which is capable of addressing the country's issues. This is increasingly looking like a coup d'etat, Nick Hack, with these soldiers now appearing on national television addressing the people of Guinea.
That's right. In fact, there's been a video circulating on social media where we see members of the Red Beret, the Presidential Guard, addressing fellow soldiers to rally on their cause. And in that speech, they explained that there were too many deaths and that it's time to sit down, perhaps rewrite a constitution, adapt it to the circumstances of Guinea, talking about the situation in hospitals and at schools. Essentially, during the rule of Alpha Conde, there's been a huge increase in the economic prospects. A country that's wealthy in iron ore and exports have been increasing rapidly, especially to China, Russia, and to Europe. But the circumstances of ordinary Guineans have gone from bad to worse. Most people live on less than $2 a day. They've struggled through the economic pandemic where there were heavy restrictions put in place. And many people who live just on $2 a day and get by on a day's wage, well, they weren't able to survive. And also the heavy-handedness of the security forces and this sense amongst a portion of Guinea's population that they weren't being represented by Alpha Conde. Remember, during the last election, the Office of the United Nations Watch on Genocide pointed out that Alpha Conde should calm down on his rhetoric, his ethnic rhetoric in this country where the Fulanis make up the majority, but the Malinke, from which he is have taken up key position in the government and security forces. So there was growing division within society there.
Okay, we've lost. Have we lost it? We still have those pictures from RTG, the national broadcaster in Guinea. Well, they're leaving now. The people who were speaking from the army, unclear who's in charge right now. I know you've watched a lot of the same videos as I have, Nick, of these soldiers, red berets, who are the presidential guard, of course. Is it clear now who's in charge? Who do we see in that video, you think, of these soldiers speaking on national television?
Well, what's interesting is we've seen the Red Berets, the presidential guards that are meant to protect the president, now holding the president under arrest. But we've also seen the elite special forces that have been on the ground, it seems, coordinating with these Red Berets. And one name has been floating around social media, Mamadou Doumbouya, who is the head of the special forces, a former French legionnaire who came in 2018 to reinforce these special forces. And he's been accused by the government, who saw him with suspicion, of trying to move away from the Ministry of Defense to gain greater independence and seen as perhaps a foe to the president. But what's clear in this message and this action that we've seen of these special forces, these armed forces, that they feel that the civilian rule or the democratic way isn't representing Guineans, and they felt that they should take over power to bring what they believe is a new Guinea, a feeling perhaps emulating what happened in a neighboring country in Mali, where we've seen the military takeover when there was a popular uprising and popular protests against the president there. We have to remember fully that in Guinea there's been protest for the last year that you and I have been covering in the region, protesting the rule of Alpha Condé, and that may explain why these emboldened soldiers took to what they're doing right now.
Let me just remind our viewers, Nick, of what we're watching right now. These are the latest pictures coming to us from Guinea state broadcaster RTG. It is now past 5 p.m. in Guinea, 5:12 p.m. It's GMT time. No, actually 5:12 p.m. here in Doha. So that's 14:12 p.m. GMT in Guinea, and soldiers have appeared on national television addressing Guineans and saying that now is the time for Guinea to unite and create a new constitution that would address the country's problems. As Nick Hack said there, this increasingly looks like a coup d'etat against President Alpha Condé, and this coup reportedly has been led by Lieutenant Colonel Doumbouya, who has been, we understand, speaking on national television. He said that borders of the country have been closed and the current constitution of Guinea has been suspended until